Calaroga Shark Media.
From the Poconos, where we're talking about hellholes like we're Spinal Tap, this is Ballot.
The president went throwback, and it was a doozy. Let's hit this. I'm Patrick Gutfield, and Trump held his first domestic rally in months in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania, and right out of the gate, he addressed critics who say he's been traveling too much. His response? What the hell do they think I'm doing? He called them stupid people who don't understand he's securing financial windfalls for America. Yes, nothing wins people over quite like calling them stupid for disagreeing with you. That's leadership 101 right there. Between 600 and 700 people showed up to watch Trump explain that sitting around twiddling our thumbs isn't his style. Which is fair. He prefers to twiddle them on Air Force One at 35,000 feet. The president admitted he hasn't made a speech in a while because, and I quote, "When you win, you say, 'I can now rest.'" That's right. Trump treated the presidency like a Netflix show where you binge the first season and then take a 6-month break before starting season 2. Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, who he called Susie Trump at the rally, which is either a slip of the tongue or a very aggressive hint about adoption, apparently told him he needs to start campaigning again because Republicans need him on the ballot to get voters to show up. So the message to Republican voters is clear. Without Trump's name on the ticket, you won't bother voting. That's not a political strategy. That's a hostage situation. The president defended his tariffs and went after Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, calling him one of the dumbest state leaders in the country. Then he turned his attention to Representative Ilhan Omar, saying she does nothing but complain. Trump told the crowd, she should get the hell out, throw her the hell out, which prompted chants of send her back. Just a normal Tuesday in America where elected officials suggest deporting other elected officials. Very constitutional, very cool. Trump also brought up a fraud investigation in Minnesota where many, but not all, of the accused are of Somali descent. He said, get them the hell out of here. They hate our country. Then he added that Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and her friends all hate America. So if you're keeping score at home, anyone who disagrees with Trump hates America. It's a very simple diagnostic tool. He announced he'd permanently paused migration from what he called hellholes like Haiti, Afghanistan, and Somalia. Someone in the crowd yelled out a vulgar term, and Trump responded, I didn't say that, you did, before immediately bringing up a 2018 White House meeting where he allegedly used that exact term. Trump said he remembered asking senators, why is it we only take people from terrible countries? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, Denmark? You know, because immigration policy should be based on which countries have the best sweaters. About 45 minutes in, Trump finally got around to the economic theme of the rally, pulling out charts to compare costs under his administration versus inflation under Biden. He brought a woman on stage who plans to use savings from his no tax on tips policy to help pay for her daughter's tuition, and a firefighter who wants to use his savings to buy a house. Which is great, except the math on whether eliminating taxes on tips will actually cover college tuition is, let's call it optimistic. Trump declared, Democrats say prices are too high. Yeah, prices are too high because they cause them to be high. Bulletproof logic. Can't argue with that. Meanwhile, the speech that was supposed to be about the economy lasted 1 hour and 35 minutes, and Trump spent most of it talking about everything but the economy. At one point, he praised his friendship with Philadelphia Eagles running back Saquon Barkley and celebrated the Super Bowl champions. The crowd gave him lukewarm applause, probably because Trump forgot the Eagles have lost 3 straight games. Nothing says I'm focused on America like not knowing the Eagles are in a losing streak while you're in Pennsylvania. The planet's most extreme cold air is about to slam into the central and eastern United States this weekend like a wrecking ball, according to meteorologist Ryan Mount. He called it a textbook polar vortex megadump of Western Canadian cold. Megadump is the technical term meteorologists use, which sounds less like a weather forecast and more like a warning sign at a truck stop bathroom. Climatologist Judah Cohen from MIT said, some of the coldest, if not the coldest temperatures across the entire globe will cover the central and eastern U.S. over the weekend and into early next week. That's right. America is about to have the coldest weather on the entire planet. We beat Europe, we beat Asia, we beat Antarctica. Finally, we're number one at something nobody else wanted. We're the participation trophy of weather systems. Cohen added, it also seems that the most expansive and continuous area of below normal temperatures across the globe will extend from Alaska to the eastern U.S. this upcoming week. So we're getting Alaska's weather, but without the oil money, the salmon, or Sarah Palin. Just the part where your eyelashes freeze together when you blink. In Chicago, wind chills could hit 20 below zero this weekend, which is impressive considering that Chicago already feels like you're being slapped in the face by a frozen lake on a regular Tuesday. The Dakotas could see wind chills approaching 45 below. 45 below. At that temperature, your car won't start, your phone dies instantly, and walking outside feels like being stabbed by 1,000 tiny ice daggers. The Dakotas are about to become the coldest place on Earth. Not the Arctic, not Siberia, North Dakota. The tourism board must be thrilled. The National Weather Service said wind chills that low can cause frostbite to exposed skin within 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That's barely enough time to walk from your car to the grocery store. You can't even finish yelling at your neighbor for not shoveling their sidewalk before your face freezes mid-insult. Temperatures will drop to as much as 30 degrees below the seasonal average in many locations. 30 degrees below average. That's not weather, that's a cosmic prank. Mother Nature looked at her calendar and said, December? No, I think you meant the Ice Age. But here's a shred of good news. This cold blast could be relatively short-lived. Forecasts expect a return to more typical wintry temperatures by later in the month. Relatively short-lived is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. That's like saying the Titanic had a relatively short-lived iceberg problem. The cold is coming from the polar vortex, which is a large upper-level low-pressure area that normally sits above the Arctic Circle, keeping cold air locked up over the North Pole where it belongs. But when it weakens or stretches, frigid air moves south. The polar vortex is basically that one friend who promises to keep a secret and then immediately tells everyone at the party. Oh, you wanted me to keep the Arctic cold in the Arctic? My bad. Meteorologist Alex Sosnowski explained that when the polar vortex is strong, it keeps the coldest air in the northern hemisphere locked up over the pole. However, when it weakens or stretches, frigid air can move south. So the polar vortex had one job, contain the cold, and it failed. The polar vortex is the TSA of weather patterns, completely ineffective but somehow still in charge. Meteorologist Paul Pastelok said this particular lobe should stick around until the 18th or 19th of the month. So we've got 10 days of this. The polar vortex isn't just visiting, it's unpacking. It's checking into a hotel, asking about the continental breakfast, and settling in for an extended stay. Do you have a room with a view of suffering? Pastelok added, we believe that 2 to 3 more rounds of intense cold are possible from the Midwest to much of the East, spanning December 10th to 19th. 2 to 3 more rounds. The polar vortex is treating America like a punching bag. Round 1, freeze your face off. Round 2, freeze everything else. Round 3, just to make sure you're miserable. He also warned there is a chance for a frost or freeze late next week as far south as Central Florida. Central Florida. The place 70-year-olds move to so they never have to own a winter coat again. Retirees in Tampa are about to wake up to frost and immediately call their real estate agent demanding a refund. You said year-round sunshine. This is false advertising. I want to speak to the manager of weather. After the 19th, the polar vortex should retreat back toward the North Pole for the immediate future. For the immediate future is meteorologists speak for until it feels like ruining your life again. The polar vortex is going home, but only to recharge. It'll be back. They always come back. The upper Midwest is basically meteorological jury duty. Nobody wants to be there, but somebody has to suffer through it, kind of like this podcast, portions of which were made with the help of AI.